All right, guys, we are here to answer questions, and we will give you a little bit of information, and we will try and answer as many as we possibly can. So here goes. You've already met all of us, Jas,
Yes.
Kalpana, and me. I'm Bindu Chopra. We work together. We are part of the international relations team at TC Global, and are in touch with all our partners and of course our students. So please feel free to ask us any kind of question. There's no, by the way, there's no such thing as a silly question. Okay, so go ahead, ask. TC Global, for those of you who are meeting us for the first time, we used to be called the Chopras. Uh, we still do the same kind of work. We still help shape lives and careers. And we started in 1995. So that makes us 25 years old and raring to go even now. So we have, we've done about 2.5 million student interactions in the last 25 years, 700 international partnerships across the world. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on, that when a student asks for something, we never ever say no. If it's good for you, it's good for us. So we are one of those, I think, rare people who who are happy to do what you want rather than what we want. All right, so go ahead and we will try and help you. What we've tried to do today, I know the questions are coming, are all about visas and jobs, but we are going to start from the very beginning, from the time the decision making is to the post study and stay back visas. We are going to try and cover all areas. Kalpana, how about the poll?
Yeah, we have got the results now.
Yeah.
Tell me.
So acceptance deposits is 0%. Starting online is 25%. And the other one, which is a big one, is post-study work, which is 75%.
All right, understandable. So we're not really worried about the money or about the safety. We are worried about how we're going to start and our experiences and of course the post-study work. Fair enough. Let's
The
try
other
and see
one,
if we
which
can.
has just come up, is visas, Bindu ma'am. So the other big one, 38% is visas.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's have a quick see on how we're hoping by the end of the hour that we have that you will be you'll have a lot more answers.
Yeah.
So let's start with the good news instead of worrying about COVID right now. Lots of good news. The undergrads should have no need to worry except A-level results. Uh, all board results are out. Postgrads, yes, I know it's a concern, but slowly but surely, universities are making decisions. Today, we were talking to universities on the future of learning, and one of the things they said is they are looking at admissions on a case-to-case basis. So if you don't have your results and you really still want to go, do get in touch with us, and we will see how we can ask the university to look on your application favorably. Domestic flights, of course, have resumed, and we've heard that in another 2 weeks, international flights should resume. We don't know when the borders are going to open, but that's the talk.
Celebrating.
I know. So should I go? Um, why not? So the world is reopening and recovering. Um, numbers are, well, I can't say going down, but in lots of places they are flattening out. And the world is reopening. Ireland has opened. The UK is opened. Europe has opened, but there are borders which are not. So at least this area of the world is under control and is recovering. Face to face will happen when borders reopen. There's no question of it. We are not asking anybody. I know a lot of you are worried about online learning, but we're not talking about correspondence courses or the online alone. So face to face will definitely happen. You can start in India and progress globally. This is a wonderful, for those of you who are worried. Of course, nobody said safety was a concern, but I suppose if you ask only for one thing, then safety comes lower down in your book. But you can start in India and progress globally. Lots of people will transfer next year, I'm sure, but there are some courses in India that you can start here and then transfer to a university, whether it's in the US, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in France, whether it's in Australia, lots and lots of them. Or there's another one, which is the Northern Consortium of UK universities, which is the NCUK, which you can do your international year one in India and progress, to over 10 universities outside. So universities have invested in your safety. Because remember, you are their concern, their online experience and resources. They don't want to make you feel as if you're sitting on your own. So there are lots and lots of changes in the way they teach to make your experience a great one. You can defer your application, but it becomes more competitive because sometimes, not always, but sometimes universities might not give you, don't defer your offer. So they will put you back in the pool, and for the next intake, they will see whether you're still, in competition. Far more flexibility and opportunities this year versus greater competition next year. That's what we're talking about for applications as well. There will be greater competition. Once the world opens up, a lot of more people will want to go. So it's, in a way, if you've got admission in a university of your choice this year, and you're a borderline or a average student, which a lot of us are, then I would suggest you take the opportunity this year. And please, we at TC Global firmly believe that don't let this year pass you by. It is a stressful year, there's no question of it, but it's a year that we all have had to go through. But why lose out? There's absolutely no reason to lose out. So let's look at money matters. Universities, just because it's COVID, there are extra scholarships, there are extra aid and bursaries, and there are fee reductions. Different countries call it different things. America calls it a fee waiver. The UK calls it a bursary. Some places call it a scholarship. But universities understand that people are, not as forthcoming. So they have increased their aid and bursaries. Also, money is tight. COVID pandemic has not only affected students, it's affected businesses across the globe. So they are helping out by making it a little more economical for you to go, for you to be able to study abroad, especially from India. The other thing is, when you do things online, remember, you're staying at home. So you are going to save those 6 to 8 weeks of living costs, which can come up to a fair bit. So education loans again have started. The banks are giving them. Again, universities are accepting them. And of course, the high commissions are accepting them. So that's the other part of it. And there's a lot of government support. Some countries are better than others. I would say, somebody was asking about New Zealand. New Zealand has been extra good. They've been actually giving about 350 New Zealand dollars to students to be able to support themselves during COVID, and for those students who are already there. So don't get excited and think, oh, I'm in India and there's COVID. I mean, that's not going to work. But governments have also been very, very supportive in the way, especially in their visa, flexibility. So let's look at some questions. Now remember, these questions have been asked over and over and over again. These are not our questions. These have been culled from our previous webinars, and let's ask them. Jazz, if a student defers his or her offer to the next intake, will the scholarship still be active?
Unlikely. In some cases they might, but most of the time they're not going to defer the scholarship because it might be specific to that year. So the way that you said it before, Bindu, you defer your application or your offer. It's the same with the scholarship. You're deferring that. And what you should know is that it's likely that there's more scholarships available this year for these upcoming intakes because universities are trying to help, like Bindu said. And therefore, that scholarship might not be available next year. Or the other way is that they're offering more scholarships this year, which means next year the pool of money will be smaller. So it's unlikely that they'll defer that scholarship with your deferral.
Yeah, we're not saying it won't happen, but it's unlikely. All right. Kalpana, will I get a discount on my tuition fees if I opt for mixed or hybrid learning?
There are no discounts. The universities are not offering any kinds of discounts. Having said that, there are multiple scholarships or bursaries that the universities are offering currently, and majorly these are merit-based. So once you have the offer letters, start talking to your relationship managers. They will tell you more about these bursaries or scholarships. Avail of those, and you're good to go.
And of course, you save on living costs.
Yes.
So,
Bindu?
yes, of course.
It's the reason that they're not offering the discount is because they're investing heavily in your online experience or your safety on campus.
Yeah,
So they're
true.
spending just as much, if not more, to make sure that you're safe and you're equipped, and therefore they cannot offer you a discount, and you're still getting a degree. So these are all being quality assured by independent quality assurance bodies that the governments have introduced. So please don't think that it's a less of a degree. It's actually just as much of a degree as if you've done the entire thing face to face.
If not better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I go ahead and pay the deposit for September 2020 intake? Whoever wants to take that, Kalpana?
Sorry, what was the question, Vidwa?
Should I go ahead and pay the deposit for September 2020 intake?
Yes, this is the right time to accept and pay the deposits, because most of the universities across globe are starting in a blended mode, which means you will start now. Maybe a little bit of the study would be online, and as soon as the borders open, you will arrive at the university and study there. So and they are taking care of the safety of each student. You are their responsibility. So go for it. Accept your offers.
Yeah, and paying a deposit if you're worried about what happens if you don't go or you have to defer it, then your deposit will get deferred. That is a done. Or if you, for whatever reason, you can't go, just look at the refund policy before you actually pay your deposit, and you will find that most countries, other than US, which has a different take on this, but most of the other countries will return your deposit in total. Sometimes you might have a administrative fee of 200 to 250 pounds or dollars, but otherwise you will get your full money back. Universities understand that these are difficult times, but if you pay your deposit, you at least know you're on the right track, and then you can take a decision much later.
Yeah,
Don't wait for that.
Yeah. Also on that point, I would like to add, you can defer your offer as well. So in case you want,
and your deposit
next year is going to be a very difficult year, because the number of students that are going to apply for next year is going to be much higher. Remember, the universities will still have the same number of students that they can take on board. So accept your offer.
Accept your offers, really. So when and how will I start? I'm just going to, so that each one, depending on where you want to go, you can have a look at it while we talk about it. If you notice, all the dates are the same that they used to be. So you will say, what is the update? The update is that all of them are probably going to be delayed by at least, I would say, 6 weeks easily. So if you look at, say UK, because that's UK and Ireland, they're saying October, and they're very keen to open face-to-face learning. So Ireland, UK, and Europe, especially Germany and all of them, are looking at October starts face-to-face up to a point. The others, the borders have not opened, so we can't really say when they're going to start. But at the moment, if we've asked them, this is what they've said. So in most cases, if you notice, everything other than Europe, which is saying face-to-face, they're not even talking about blended learning, and so is Ireland. The others are saying they will start with a little bit of some of the classes online. I have to say, though, that it might be that even when you go on campus, the chances are that some modules are going to be online. Not all classes are going to be face-to-face. Tutorials will be face-to-face because they're much, much, much smaller. There are only 6 to 9, 10 people in that class. But the really big 500 theatre lecture rooms, those, I'm afraid, may be used because there'll be only 200 people in a 500 room lecture theatre. But otherwise, that's what it is. So let's see, we're talking about hybrid, blended, mixed. What is this? So just a quick update for all of you. Mixed mode, hybrid, blended is a mix of online and face-to-face learning. Please believe me, it is not a distance learning or a correspondence course. There's no question of not doing face-to-face learning. Hybrid learning is not that. Hybrid learning is that eventually you will go to the classroom, you will be able to talk to your teacher face-to-face, and even when you're on campus. So online learning will be the new normal going forward. In my book, is the normal going forward. I hate this new normal that people are talking about. What is new normal? This is normal. It's going to be there, and it's going to be there for a long, 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 long time. So for those of you who think by deferring to next year, this is going to change, I'm afraid it is not. So whether you go in 20, 21, or 22, some parts of your course are always going to be online. And by the way, this is not new. This has always been the case. Lab work has to be face-to-face. Some things, like dance, music, drama, those kind of things have to be face-to-face. So tutorials have to be face-to-face. So those were never, ever online. Now it's just that a few more modules may come online. So let's see. These were simple questions. Does starting online mean my entire degree will be online? I've just explained to you. Absolutely not. No university which is saying it's blended is going to do their entire degree online. There's no question of it. Okay. Kalpana, can I start my study in India and then transfer to an international study destination later?
Yes, there are options this year, and more so this year. A number of students are taking these options where they start in India with providers, either Indian providers or providers from different countries, and the next year you transfer to the destination you want to go to. In fact, today also we have NC UK who are available
Yes.
in the expo, where you start your first year in India for a business program, an undergraduate program, and you have about 14 universities to go to after your first year. These universities are in UK and Australia, and you could also look at other transferring countries, maybe US or any other country. So the transnational pathways are very, very popular, and you should get in touch with our relationship management team. They will guide you for other institutions as well.
Yeah, in fact, we had a very nice event about a couple of weeks ago with Indian partners, who have partners outside, and it was amazing to see how many students we had interacting with them. So if you just keep in touch with your RM, connect with us, yeah, or just go to our website. You'll find these events listed. Jazz, will hybrid learning affect my employment opportunities?
But in a extremely positive way. What it shows is that you're able to adapt. You're able to be future thinking. You're able to be progressive in your mindset. You're able to work independently in a remote environment. That's exactly what it shows. So if a lot of people are concerned that people might think, oh, well, they didn't do it properly. Actually, you're showing that you're really adaptable and that you're able to work in this remote first environment. That is the future. That is the way work is currently in it, how it will be. And if you're able to thrive in that for education, then you're making your CV even better.
I'd agree. And for some of you, if you've attended both, we had both sessions today on the future of learning and the future of work. You would have heard the universities and the industry guys talk about it and say how good this the hybrid learning is, because it helps you to upgrade your digital skills as well. So with online learning, I'm lacking motivation to do any work without my peer group, Kalpana.
This is a world of online, and I don't see there would be any lack of motivation. We are all here attending a fair which is completely online. Uh, Here we have people in our team, the international relation team, who are currently sitting in California and Spain and France and UK. Bindu ma'am is in Bangalore, Just is in Delhi. I am in Greater Noida. So I don't see there would be any challenges with the networking or peer support that we are looking at. The world has moved completely online. We should be part of it and go
Yeah.
ahead.
And why should anybody lack motivation in these? Look, they are stressful times, but they're not depressing. And to lack motivation, in fact, we'll come to it when we come to work. Well, we're going to give you some advice that
Can I
we've been
just-
picking up
Bindu,
from
can I just
industry.
add one thing
Yeah.
quickly, in that universities are making sure that you'll be doing a lot of networking anyway. So if you were listening to some of them that came on the stage, and if you've spoken to some, and you haven't asked this question, you should have. But some of them are already telling you what they're doing to facilitate that. They're doing a lot of extra talks. Actually, being remote allows them to facilitate networking better for you. And when you get to your new destination, you've got this bunch of friends that you made virtually who are all in the same boat, first time they've been somewhere, and they can all do that experience with you together. So networking is going to exist. The universities are investing in that.
Yeah. And it's amazing. We've been doing this for, as I said, 25 years. And every year we have a pre-departure. And one of the things that all the I was going to say kids, the students say to us is that, yeah, I'm on this Facebook group, which has, so many hundred people. And I'm on this, I have a WhatsApp group with my classmates already. I already know them. What happened to all that? That was always there. It's just that because we are talking about blended learning, that everybody has now decided to say we lack motivation. Not at all. Not at all. Okay, so number of people wanted to know about visa updates. So let's go with visas. No problem with visas. Nothing has changed. Uh, all documentation remains exactly the same. The only thing is that in some countries, which is basically Canada and Australia, you can't start your online course without a visa. Australia, of course, is being very proactive. Their borders are not open, but they are issuing visas because it's online, and they're just taking 10 days to 2 weeks for visas to be given. So that they're being very proactive. Canada will take a little longer, but they are being good about it, that if some of your documentation is not there, you can still file your visa and you will get one in principle, so that at least you can start your course. And when, supposing there's no biometrics in your area because of lockdown, you can always do the biometrics later and they'll attach it to your visa file and issue you a visa. So these basically, if you wanted updates, there is no updates in terms of processes. They are absolutely the same. Somebody asked about deadlines in Ireland. Ireland says they're going to take a month, 30 days. And remember, this is 30 working days. So 30 days to give you a visa. They also, and there's no priority now in the UK, but for Ireland, the VFS have a product called Check and Verify. Do take that, guys. It prioritizes your visa because they've done the background check on it, and your Irish visa will come a little sooner. The reason I'm delving into Ireland is somebody asked us a question before we'd even started. Some consulates have opened. The USA is not open yet. Where else is it not? In fact, New Zealand has not opened yet. Australia is issuing visas, but their borders have not opened yet. But if there's any particular country that you wanted, my advice, just go to the visa desk at the expo and you can ask them, or of course, connect with your RM and she will send you, or he will send you, a checklist for you to be absolutely ready. The only advice we can give you is get your visa papers ready and raring to go, so that the minute the country opens, you can file your visa. It's going to take time. So Ireland, Europe, and UK are open right now. VFS is accepting documentation. So go for it, guys. There's no major hassle there. Okay. So let's have a look. I have paid fees. Yeah. Sorry.
I think let's take a couple of questions from the.
Okay.
So Ajinkya, he is quite worried. I believe he's going to Canada and he wants to defer. He's already filed his visa. So
Okay.
his question is, if the visa does not come through, does he defer the visa? If he is studying and 50%, what happens after that 50% if the borders don't open? So those are the kind of questions.
Okay. So for Canada, you filed. I wonder if he's filed the visa with all documents, complete documents, biometrics, and the works.
I'm sure biometric has not happened, but rest of it.
So you should get. So you should get an approval, like an approval in principle, waiting for the balance documents to come.
Yeah,
if the rest of your paperwork is fine.
He hasn't done biometrics yet.
Okay, so no problem. If your academics and the other documents, which is money, if that is good to go, if the financials are correct, then you should be able to get an approval in principle. And then when your biometrics comes in, they will issue you the visa. That should not be a problem. That should
and
not.
To add to that, once you have the AIP, you can start your online course. And online will, we will cover that in a bit. Online will get you that post-study that you were
study. We're coming to it. The next part.
Don't worry, Ajinkya. It's all good. Your visa is filed. It's a good sign, and you will hopefully not need to defer your offer to the Jan intake.
And if you have to defer it, then that's also fine. The visa will go with it. So don't worry about it. Yeah.
There's an English language question as well. Let me just ask that one. Purvi said, does UK accept Duolingo English tests for admissions as well as for visa?
Yes, of course, Duolingo is accepted because the UK English language is not mandatory. So if the university accepts it, the UKVI will accept it. If you're a student who's in a pathway program or under, a level lower than the degree, then you will need another. Then Duolingo will not be accepted. You will need a IELTS CELT or a PTE CELT, which is the secure English language test for that. If you're a regular bachelor's or a master's student, then it doesn't matter. If your university accepts it, UKVI is fine with it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Kalpana, I have paid fees. What will be the impact of COVID-19 on further process and visa?
So you paid the fee, good thing, good going. You now need to book your accommodation. And as soon as the visa starts, go for it.
Yeah. Basically, you can ask if you paid the fees, your CAS should come, which is for the UK. Your unconditional offer should come if it's for Canada or for Ireland. Your ECOE will have to come if it's for Australia. So depending on the country, you just, as she said, you apply for the visa, and of course, don't forget to do accommodation. Because with quarantine rules in place, you will need a place for the first 14 days. Okay? We are coming to that as well. So we will cover that.
Yeah, there's a question on that as well. So we'll cover.
Yeah. If I take an online English language test, can I use it for my visa?
I'll take this one. Yeah, so the you're looking at, so Bindu just gave the example of the UK. If the university accepts it, a lot of them are taking these temporary online language tests, and Duolingo being one, TOEFL, IBT, home version, PT, VEPT, IELTS indicator. All of these are ones that are currently being accepted by some universities, so that meets visa requirements. In other countries, most of the standard applied, for example, but in Ireland, They're allowing for visa purposes for Duolingo. In Australia, they're allowing language. So it really depends on the country, but they're being very flexible. And in some cases, it's just dependent upon what the university accepts. And most of them are accepting alternative ones, just temporarily.
Yes. Can we underline that in capital letters? Temporarily. This is for this intake, guys. Don't say, I heard Jazz tell me in July last year, and that's why I didn't take my IELTS. That's not going to work in January next year. But for this year, yes, yes.
Also, to add to that, a number of universities have their own English tests.
Yes.
So
Yes,
if
yes.
you are planning, please check with your RM, and you can go ahead and do those tests. You don't need to go anywhere. The university will send you a link, and you can do it sitting at your home.
And it's
So-
free. And it's free.
And it's free, yeah.
Okay, what is the deadline to apply for visa for September 2020 intake? Guys, this is a very old question. Yes, there's no deadline, but as I said, some of them will take time over the visa, so that's the deadline. Ireland is about 7 weeks prior to course start date, but otherwise, go for it. You know, be ready, get your paperwork ready so that you're ready whenever the borders open. So you want to file it a little later, you know, instead of July, you want to do it at the end of August, even that is okay. But get your paperwork ready, because paperwork can take up to 4 weeks, especially if you're taking a loan, that can take time. So get your paperwork ready, and whenever you're ready for it, whenever the borders open and you want to go, look, universities are being very, very flexible with their start dates, okay?
Yeah.
So they are giving you the time because they know visas are taking time. So
Also, to add to that, a number of you may not have taken your final exams because the universities have not declared the dates. So don't worry, check with your RM, because a number of countries are accepting, you know, documentation without the final degree. So
yes,
please check and file your visas now also. You can do that without your final degree mark sheets. So check
Yeah.
for your own country and the university that you're going to go to with us, so that we can guide you accordingly.
Yeah, and if you're an undergrad student, remember, they are even willing to take the computerized version, which comes from NIC. They're willing to take that. The universities are willing to take that, okay? Because they know that's, you know, as long as it's not fraudulent. Can I file my visa online now? Kalpana?
Of course, if the High Commission is accepting the documentation, you can start filing the visas. Australia, as just now Bindu ma'am said, they've opened up. We got a visa in a day's time. So you can go ahead. Canada is accepting online visas. Ireland is gone online. UK very soon. In fact, they have started, yeah. So almost all countries, apart from US, they are also showing you booking slots available in October.
Yeah.
But most of them have opened in that way. Online is all open.
Yeah.
Online is all open. And we'll see. The US at the moment, the borders are closed. So when I get there, I'm just going to do this quickly. 14 days self-quarantine, we've mentioned this before. It's mandatory in most countries, so plan for that. My favorite here is, of course, even the cricket team going to Australia to play cricket in December has 14 days self-quarantine before they can play. So you are students, please. Many universities are offering facilities at little or no minimal extra cost. Some of the British universities, in fact, are giving you university accommodation for 14 days for free. They are not charging you for those 2 weeks. So yes, just find out. Some of them will help you to find facilities for quarantine. You might have to pay a little bit, but it'll be minimal. Accommodations are limited due to social distancing. So as we mentioned, people asked, when should we file a visa? My logic is, please do your accommodations. If the accommodations could take 100 people, now they'll probably take 60 or 70 max because of social distancing. There's no change in part-time work. 20 hours a week is very, very much on the cards. In some cases, they'll even let you work a little extra. Universities are taking adequate measures for the safety of students, and which is a big thing. Lots of things they're doing in our earlier slide. So when I get there, should I book my accommodation in advance, Kalpana?
Of course, we talked about quarantine. It's a good way to be safe that you have accommodation there if the university is not providing you the quarantine accommodation. And also, once the borders open, remember there would be no availability of accommodations. It's going to be very, very difficult for you guys to get even a hotel accommodation at that point in time. The other thing to note is universities offer accommodations. They are giving you that flexibility. The day you arrive, the actual payment kicks in from that date, not from the day you have booked the accommodation. And there are refunds available for the first time for accommodations because of the COVID situation. So please book your accommodation.
Would the universities help with finding the right resources to ensure my health and safety, Jess?
Yeah, of course they will. So most universities feel responsible for you or are responsible for you when you get there. So a lot of them are doing things like introducing a lot of health and safety measures on campus, whether that be one-way system, social distancing, increased hygiene, or some of your classes being separated to make sure it's smaller groups, or even being online, like Bindu had mentioned earlier. They're doing a lot to help you in terms of that. They're also doing that by allowing you to do some classes online, and online learning start is part of the reason that they're doing that, to help you with health and safety. They're also helping you in terms of, many of them, in terms of that quarantine accommodation, and just connect with them to make sure that there's more support that they're giving you, because I'm sure that there's plenty of it out there.
Yeah. I mean, they are responsible for you. If you look at your CAS letter, which comes from the UK universities, if you look where the name of the sponsor is the name of the university, they are your sponsors. So, they are going to ensure. So will the university increase miscellaneous expenses for facilities and stuff, Jess?
No, because they have a set agreement, first of all, and they know that this is not your fault. They're factoring that into the situation, and like Kalpana said, they're making sure things are available and even giving you options for refunds. So there won't be an increase in expenses. It would just be the standard one, because they've had those agreements in place, and they know that it's not your fault, that you shouldn't carry the burden of the cost. In fact, they're doing so much to support you financially, it wouldn't make sense for them to charge you on extra things when they've given you some scholarships and things like that.
Exactly. All right. This is the one you all wanted. So let's look at it. We said we'd come to it. All right, guys. Look at the map, see which country you're going to, and you will find that there is no impact. The one thing that governments have done for students is that they have kept in place all the stay back options that were there pre-COVID. So nothing has changed. I know you're skeptical about the US, but he did try, Donald Trump. It didn't work very well. And no thing.
Bindu, I think you're cutting out.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope she's not going to carry on talking. But what you'll see is a lot of countries around the world and governments have done a lot to make sure you're supported. So in Canada and New Zealand, they've got really clear rules. In Germany, they've got really clear rules. As long as you have 6 months onshore, then you're fine. In Canada, as long as 50% is onshore, you're fine. In New Zealand, you have to have a minimum of 30 weeks. In the UK, they've been even more liberal in that they've introduced a new graduate immigration route, which is that 2-year stay back option. And as long as you're onshore by the 6th of April, 2021, you're completely fine. So if you look at them, all of them have been reasonable and flexible because they know COVID is just unusual circumstances and borders are closed. There's nothing you can do about that. But they want to support you going ahead with your global education. So those are the updates there. We need Bindu to click the next slide.
So we can take few questions, Jess,
Sure.
while we are waiting.
Sure. Let's take this one from. Oh, this one from Swapno. I've got a conditional offer letter from Northumbria University, UK for masters. I'm in my last year and I don't have my last year result yet due to lockdown. How am I supposed to confirm my admission before the deadline?
So as we discussed a few minutes later, what you need to do is check with Northumbria University, send them all the documentation. They would send you a conditional offer, which you can accept because most of the universities are allowing you to accept the conditional offers. Pay the deposit, and once your results come through, you can send them the final results for you to actually eventually for UK. So yeah, it should be perfectly okay. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So you want me to share?
Yeah, if you could.
Yes.
We'll just take one more question while we're waiting for that.
Yeah.
Purvi, you asked a question earlier. I said I forgot to ask. In the UK, will DET be applicable for Jan 21 intake also and for the visa? I don't know what that question is.
Sorry?
Vidmam, do you know what DTP is?
I know.
Which one?
DET.
DET.
CPT.
DET.
No.
Purvi, if you want to tell us what DET is, maybe we just don't know the abbreviation. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bindu, if you want to share the presentation, I'll take one more question for us.
Yeah.
Do years spent in post-study work count towards the 5?
Oh, Duolingo.
Huh?
DT is Duolingo English test.
Oh.
Why don't you call it that?
Baby, we're just not cool enough, guys. We don't know what it's called. Duolingo be applicable for Jan 21? That's really difficult to say, but most of them seem to be accepting it. Remember what we said, it's temporary acceptance. So they might take it away at any point. If things open up and it goes back to this face-to-face quite quickly, then they'll expect you to do those face-to-face tests, but you don't know. If you're accepting your place now, then they're likely to accept Duolingo. If you're doing it in a couple of months' time, that requirement might change. So just to keep that in mind. And Bindu mentioned earlier that for visas, as long as it's degree level or above, they just accept what the university accepts. So if the university is accepting the Duolingo in January, then the visa will be fine with that.
For UK, yeah. So these are the main questions. Are post-study options still available? Yes, I will take that one. They're absolutely available, all of them. In fact, UK has been added on with a 2-year stay back. It's called the GIR, the Graduation Immigration Route. Now that people are throwing, abbreviations at us. As most institutions have started online learning, will that affect my post-study work visa? Whoever wants to take that, Jazz or Kalpana?
Sure.
Yeah, just go for it.
Will it affect well, we've just gone through them, you saw that, right?
Yeah,
so most
absolutely.
Most of them being very flexible. They have clear requirements around how much you have to do onshore. And what you should know is universities are super aware of that, and they've been working with governments to get that clarity. So they'll make sure what you do online. I know there was I think it was Akinya, I think you were Ajinka, sorry.
Ajinka.
I think you were quite worried about that earlier, right? The point is universities have structured their programs to make sure that you're meeting those requirements. So they have a rough idea of when borders are going to open and when you'll be allowed back on campus.
Okay. And what jobs are trending post-COVID? Guys, there's another poll which I'd like you to answer while you're listening to us.
Okay. So the jobs trending post-COVID are things like cloud computing, AI, big data, a lot of sciences, biomedicine, any others you want to talk about, Kalpana? There's logistics, transport, healthcare, all of the other ones.
Lots of them, yeah. Lots of them.
And please don't forget to check the skill shortage areas. Each country has a set of, skill shortages. You can always look at that and map your skills with that. And that means you are going great.
Yeah.
Healthcare is a big one currently, and it will remain a big one. Teaching is another one which will always remain evergreen.
Yeah. And there's going to be new opportunities in remote
Yeah, and
world.
the poll, such few people, only 10 or 11 out of 40 people have done the poll. And okay, thank
There
you.
we go.
They're doing it.
Yeah.
We have to give them a minute.
All right, you can carry on doing it. Let's go.
You carry on with the poll. Bindu will give you some key takeaways.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do exactly that. So just to summarize, should I go? Yes, reduce competition. Some of the opportunities may be temporary. Refund policies are in place. No reason why you shouldn't. Universities are being more flexible. Scholarships, bursaries, aid, and some support are available right now. Delayed start, definitely for face-to-face, but they will be there as soon as it's safe. So there is no question of courses remaining online for the entire program. No changes in visa processes and requirements as stringent as they were earlier, but as and when they open, as and when the borders open, there will be a lot more, there'll be a huge rush to file visas. I would suggest that we file visas now wherever possible. Don't forget, there will be quarantine. Make sure you have your accommodation. Stay back options, which are your biggest worry, very much in place. And markets and jobs and opportunities will come. Why are we taking it into account that the whole world is going to be, sort of lie back and play dead? That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. So while we've been taking questions.
Should I tell you the poll results? So
yeah.
11% are ready to start my program online. 37% are looking to defer to the next intake. 5% still have no clue. And 47% are saying I'm working on my decision.
So for those 47, if you need any help, whether it's to defer or it is to go, allow us to help you. We're working with our partners. We can tell you honestly. The other thing we do, one is that we never say no, and the other thing is that we are completely above board. There's no question of passing off fraudulent documents or being unethical. So if you can't go and you have a good reason for that and you want to defer, let us help you. If you need a refund, let us help you. We are in touch with our universities all the time. So the other thing, before we leave you, we're so worried about jobs. We've been having so many of our future of learning, future of work panel discussions. And the one big thing that has come out of it is that employers, the way they interview now is completely different.
Yeah.
They are not looking at what you know and how much you've studied and what your work experience is. One of the biggest questions they're asking you is, what did you do in 2020? Did you lie back and play dead?
Yeah.
Or did you get on with life and either do short-term courses, upskill yourself in some way or other, or took online courses and said, look, it's enhancing my digital skills. By the way, even if you start online and in 2 weeks' time, you feel that this is not for you, universities there's a consensus date. If it's before the date, they will either defer your offer or they will give you refund your money. So without trying, if you're listening to the world and saying, oh, so difficult, you're sitting with us and we've had over 40 people listening to us for the last hour. So it's not so bad.
Yeah.
And we're from all over the place. I mean, my session today on the panel had somebody from London, had somebody from Dublin. The industry was from Chennai, and I'm sitting in Bangalore. And we had a marvelous discussion, on the future of learning. So before you make a decision based on other people's viewpoint, try it out yourself.
Yeah.
We are running these master classes. They're absolutely fabulous. If you've missed today's, Monday we go on air again. do see if you can log in on Monday for the masterclass. You don't have to see the universities if you've already met them, but maybe the masterclass, or maybe we have a wonderful coffee hour talking to 3 students from different parts of the world on their experiences of being there. So there's so much going on. Talk to us. A lot of this stuff is available, I think available on our website as well.
It will be available. At this stage,
It will
it
be.
is not, but we will get everything on the website.
On the website. So guys, any other major questions that you want to ask while we're still here?
There was a
Sure.
question. One
Dhruv
second.
Kumar says you missed my question. What is his question?
So his question is, do years spent in post-study work count towards the 5-year requirement of the British permanent resident?
No, it doesn't. That's a very easy answer. No, it doesn't. Those 2 years are separate. They don't count. But if you convert that into a job, it goes on to a tier 2 visa, that will get counted.
Yeah.
That will get counted.
Also,
Tier
also
4
you have,
visa doesn't.
Also, you now have the point-based system for UK. So once you have finished your 2 years post-study, you can look at the points that you have accumulated and apply for your resident visa.
Point.
And it doesn't matter whether you've been there 5 years. If you have 70 points, you can apply.
You don't need the 5 years, correct.
You don't need the 5 years.
And next question, I have an offer. If I have an offer for a master's in sport management from University of Stirling, nice. I need to know how sport industry work after this pandemic. What will be the opportunities in this industry in Scotland or in the whole of the UK? Shall I go?
Yeah, please.
There will be plenty
yeah,
of. I mean, the UK are sports mad, right? And we just hosted the Olympics a few years ago. We are completely obsessed with football and rugby and hockey, and any sport you can think of, it gets taken up. So, I mean, there's loads of dedicated sports channels in the UK. So in terms of jobs in sports management, you'll find plenty. My sister did something similar from the University of Leeds, and she has easily found a job. She's always constantly in demand because it's such an in-demand industry. So don't worry about jobs being available. Just make sure that you're open and you're applying early on.
So I would like to add to it. What makes you think that sports will go off the world after the pandemic? Nothing will change for the future. Yes, whatever we are going through during this period is different. But once we come back to the normal, things will resume. Our Indian team has already planned to go to Australia, like a few minutes back.
Yeah. They're playing football. Yeah. Football has already started. So sport is not going to change. And you've gone to University of Stirling.
Yeah.
You know, it's their flagship. You will get a job, and now you have a 2-year stay back. Look at the pluses on this one. Pratik, I don't think you should worry. I hope you play sport yourself, because that will be a huge, you know. I know a young girl who studied, I think it was Leeds Beckett, where she did sports again. And she was part of the British Olympic team. She was one of the people, you know, for their boxing team. So it doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter as long as you're good at what you do.
I think on that, sports could be esports as well. I have a student who is going to Strathclyde this year for esports. And he is the F1 racer, esport again. So he is world number 3, I believe. So sports has a great, you know, career. It could be chill sport or the e-sport.
Change your mindset. Change your mindset. Okay, I just saw a very interesting one. What is it? Ajinkya, what might be the right time to book flight tickets and accommodation for 21st September 2020 course?
No,
I'm presuming that you're looking at the UK.
He's going to Canada.
You can't book a flight yet. You can certainly do accommodation, because accommodations are being very flexible, but you can't book a flight yet till the borders open.
And also,
so there's no question of
what is the right
time.
He's still waiting for his visa.
You have to get a full visa. Your biometrics are not done. Are you the one without biometrics right now? Wait till you get your full visa and then you can travel. If there are any parents listening in, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to travel with your children for a while because visitor visas are not allowed. I mean, even if you have a visa, I mean, for example, I have a visa for Canada, but I can't travel there right now because it's not a necessary travel, whatever they call it, to go for me to go right now. So just be a little careful,
Yeah.
parents.
What are the job
Construction
it depends on
management.
where you're going to do this, Bhagyashree.
Bhagyashree.
Most of them will have it because I don't know if you've seen, but the world is very much populated and they're constantly building. So although we might be more remote, you still need to be remote somewhere. So there'll definitely be opportunities. In fact, there'll probably be more innovative opportunities that you should be considering. So regardless of where you're going, to be honest, there'll definitely be opportunities. Do you have anything to add to that, Bindu and Kazi?
No, construction is always going to be, I don't know if you're doing construction management, does the family have a construction business? And if you're doing just construction management, you can do specialized stuff in sustainable materials or, something a little more futuristic. It might help to add that on to your specialization. Remember, all courses have certain mandatory modules, but they have a lot of electives. So if you're good with your electives when choosing them, that might really, really help you. Nisarg Brahmbhat, what a wonderful name. First of all, I have decided to go for the next intake. All right. But due to pandemic, many of students are delaying. And obviously they will go to next year. So due to this extra competition, and also they have 1 year extra work experience, so don't you think we will get admission in colleges less
It's
than
not
we
about
deserve?
getting admission in colleges less than you deserve. It's about the fact that there'll be just greater competition. So you've chosen to defer, which is completely understandable, but you're choosing to put yourself into a more competitive position. That is unfortunately how the world works. And so it won't be necessarily that it's less than you deserve. It just means it's a greater competition. And if you get a great opportunity, then that showcases you even better.
Have you got an offer right now? If you do have an offer right now and it's a great university, why don't you connect with us? Let's see. Maybe we can defer it for you and defer your offer. But if you're just saying this without actually having applied, then it becomes it's not something that we can really talk about because we can't talk to the university either for you. So, Nisarg, that's something that you need to decide yourself. Yes, people will differ. Of course, they'll differ. But that's, I don't think, is the only criteria. Yes, I do play football. Wonderful, Pradeep. You're in the right country.
Bhagyashree is also wanting to go to UK, so she's also in the right place for construction.
Rohit asked, I wanted to know when the theatres are going to open, as I'm looking forward to Rose Bruford College for MA Light in Performance, and I can't decide whether to go forward or not. Do you want to take a go at that, or?
Yes.
Yeah, but this is for live performance. That has to be face-to-face. A lot of the theory will be online, even when you go there, but a lot of the other will be face-to-face. So why not?
I mean, if you've noticed, there's been so much support for the arts. So you'll find increasingly that they're pushing a lot to reopen theatres earlier, and it depends on the country and things. But many of them have slowly started to introduce rules about when they'll be opening them. So expect that it will be at the end of this year you'll find opportunities.
Rohan is saying, I have an offer from University of Leeds for Masters in Business Analytics and Decision Science. Is this a course that is future-proof in the UK? Will there be good return on investment? Yeah.
There will be immediate return on investment.
Good opportunities.
There's not good.
And a great university too, but I don't know if we can say anything is future-proof. What are we talking about in like 50 years' time? We don't know where the hell we'll be. So
yeah, it is.
But yeah,
it is.
It's a good investment.
No, analytics analytics is nearly future-proof.
Yeah.
So anything which is digital is, and you know, some of our universities, it's amazing how they're tweaking their syllabus to add. Essex, for example, says that all their business courses, now they're adding analytics as a very strong module into it, so that people are future ready, because digitization is the name of the game. So yeah, just look at the modules, wherever
Which
you
country
find
is better for
that
PR,
you can.
USA or Canada? I don't think that's for
Canada. Yeah.
For PR, Canada. There's no PR.
US.
There's no PR in
what is
America. Yeah.
okay,
Guys,
Canada or New
two more
Zealand.
minutes.
Those are
we
the
may
only
have
two.
to a few more questions we can take, but I'm sure Hopin will
Chuck us out.
stop functioning. So we can do quick. Yeah.
What is the
Check us
scope
out
of
soon.
architecture jobs in the UK after completion
All
of
right.
my master's studies? It's similar to what I'd said to Bhagyashree. There will be plenty of opportunities and there'll be more innovative spaces. In the UK, if you look at the landscape, they're very famous for their skyscrapers, for their physical infrastructure. So you'll find that becomes something that's available to you. I think that's anything to add there?
I think
Yeah.
No, before we get thrown out, just to say, stay connected with us, with tcglobal.com. Our website has wonderful, articles on our insights, lots and lots of virtual events. So just keep in touch with us, and we will continue taking
all
questions.
the questions which have not been answered, I think we will come back to you. We will send you answers to those questions.
Yeah. Let's answer just a couple more. Maitri has said, I'll be pursuing MBA from Uni of Southampton for February. When will visa offices be reopening and what are the operating times within a short time? So UK visa offices have started reopening. You need to have an appointment prior to going to the visa office.
Yes.
So you just need to check online. Anything else you want to add?
Before that, she needs an offer letter. I don't know whether
Yep.
she has an
Yep.
offer letter for February. So get in touch with us. We'll sort it out.
Yeah. You need a
I've
CAS.
got an offer letter for AUT. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Normally CAS. Sorry. No. I just want to say CAS. Sorry, is available. Is only valid for 6 months. Though that's also they're being flexible about. So if you want to go in February, you could probably apply around October.
I've got an offer letter
That should
from
be a good
AUT,
thing.
but I'm a little worried about doing a master's in New Zealand because of their border restrictions. That's the craziest thing, because New Zealand has been so incredible during this. So I would never expect anybody to say they're worried about going to New Zealand, because they've been one of the most resilient countries, the most proactive in supporting international students. So would you guys be worried about that? Do you have anything to add?
Shivam, I would recommend start the online course that the blended thing that they have already I'm sure have offered you. Because for New Zealand, if you remember when Bidumam was doing the slide, she said you have to be on shore only for 6 months and your post-study still kicks in. So even I'm 100% sure the borders will open much before that. But even if the borders don't open till February this year, you're safe. You can do the blended learning and go to the country whenever the borders open.
I think this could be the last question. In which country is return on investment faster, Canada or USA? What a question.
This is
Wow.
The reality is it depends on you. The return on investment
Correct.
entirely depends on your investment in what you do post this. So if you're not actively going out seeking job opportunities, putting yourself in that position, you won't get any return on investment regardless on where you are. So the return on investment is entirely dependent upon you. Don't ever think it's the location, it's you.
Also, the return on investment is also the investment that you put in. So if you've gone for a PG diploma, you've only spent less than 15 lakhs. Your return on investment is quick and very swift and good. But if you spent 2 years working at the university and you spent 4 times or 3 times the amount of money, then your return on investment will then be that much slower and less. So yeah, I mean, that's a very general question. So unless you want to compare universities
Yeah.
to universities,
Yeah.
it's a difficult one to.
One last question, Swapnil, you're just going to get in there because you've got like 30 seconds. How's the future of Masters in International Business Management in the UK? I mean, no question.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
As good or as bad as everything else. Depends on why you're doing it and what you hope to gain out of it, to be honest. But now, because you have 2 years to look for a job, it's a pretty good bet. Look, companies, and there are 25,000 companies listed with the UKVI.
Yeah.
So it's not that you won't get a job. Earlier it was, who do I go to? Now they're all listed on UKVI. You can certainly have a look at the list and see if those are the kind of companies you wish to work for. How good you are, how good your marks are. Have you had work experience before? How strong is your resume?
How many internships
There's so
you've
many
gone
factors.
for?
But what I will say about the British universities is they all have such strong career centers. That's not a question that we can answer. But if you talk to the career centers, they're fabulous.
So Vidhi, we
they
didn't
really
answer your question, but just check with
Yeah,
your
been kicked
relationship
out.
manager about Leeds, because I'm pretty sure that they're giving you support in terms of accommodation, whether that's free or discounted. Just check. Bindu, Kalpana, do you know off by heart?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
Leeds.
Oh, so
Which
I
one
think you
Leeds?
get discounted.
this is the end. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Contact us if you have any
They've
questions.
thrown
We're
us
so glad
out.
you chose to join us. Thank you, Bindu and Kalpana. You're amazing.